First of all, Mr. Tahir Nihad, I'm very thankful and grateful to you that you have taken your important time and to come to my podcast. It's been a pleasure and it is always an honor to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Shahzad. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And I hope that this discussion is going to be the interesting one, because I think we have been talking a lot privately, but this is going to be the first formal conversation with you. And let's hope that we are able to convey some good messages to the listeners and viewers. And at the same time, when we leave from this meeting, we are going to get something as a learning for us too.
That is great. Life is always for me a learning hub. So I am always learning, and especially from you, it's a great honor, as I said to you.
Thank
So
you.
my first question is to you: that how did your journey of an entrepreneur has started? As I know, you have worked in a retail and you work in a real estate, and now you again doing completely different in a IT field. So could you elaborate that for me, please?
I think, Shahzad, there are certain things basically before we jump to the actual answer. I think there is certain background for everybody, and that is unique. But I would like to generalize a little bit about people's journey into becoming businessman, or in our new lingo, entrepreneur. I think the people, the way they are raised and nurtured in their families, is something which greatly impacts their goals and what they want to achieve in their life later, once of course they become adults. For me, believe you me, I mean, where I was raised and the situation I was raised in was such that we had no clue that where life was taking us. And especially talking about me, I was a kind of whimsical person who would like to jump into each and everything I would, feel curious about. And but luckily enough, what happened was that in 1998, I got a chance to travel to Abu Dhabi, and this was the place actually where my actual entrepreneurial journey started. And the first job which I got was after 9 months of, continuous struggle. And this struggle was, to me, was kind of challenge of revival, because I had, I think, a lot of lackings then, which I thought that I had to, quickly fill in, and then prepare myself for what I was confronted with. And that's what I did, and it took about a year for me to prepare myself for that job, and I got a job which was a good job indeed. And as a beginner, the salary was good, but I did not stay with that job more than 15 days, and I left the job because I thought that, each and everything you do in life should be having, something through which you learn. And if, I was a person who would feel that if I'm stuck in something, I would like to leave it, and whatever cost I have to pay, I would not care about that. And that's exactly what I did. I left the job, and then I came back to Pakistan, spent some time here, and then I started my first business, which was the internet cafe, which I started in, I think it was 99 or 2000, and it was Walk in Pakistan. Which I would not call it a success, but because it was first formal business which I did, and I almost invested, all my energies and whatever money I could, lay my hands on, including, the loans from friends and family. But after a year, the business was just so-so. I mean, it was not successful. It was not a failure also. But then I got the invitation from my brother-in-law to go back to, or come back to Abu Dhabi, and then start a business together, which we did. and it was 2000 or 2001, and you're familiar with that, and it was a huge success. I would not, you see, say that it was because of me. I think it was greatly because of my brother and his contacts and his know-how in that particular business. But I did, you see, my bit. And we were successful, luckily. But to me, you see, business becoming successful or business becoming rewarding, or you see, giving you a lot of money or producing a lot of money was not, you see, I would call a success. To me, success was this complete, I would call the complete satisfaction inside my heart and my soul that whatever I'm doing is what I'm meant to do. And I knew exactly that I was not meant to do what I was doing. Yes, I wanted to earn some money. I did earn some money, and then I left for UK, where for the very first time I met you. You see, I did whatever I did there, and then I came back to Dubai and, you see, indulged myself into so many different businesses. And that is exactly what I'm doing till date. Probably it's been 2 years that, you see, I started a company in research and development where we are producing, not producing, but we are trying to invent something. And I think that was exactly what I wanted to do since my childhood. So I would call this business as a business of my own choice and own liking. And I would say that this is something which I can stick to forever. Rest of the businesses, you see, whatever I did or whatever I'm doing because I thought that those businesses can be helpful for me to, let's say, evolve wherever I was, or I can help through those businesses, and I can extend this help to others, which, you see, I somehow think that is built in me, that I would like to support the youngsters, especially Pakistani youngsters. So that's about it. I mean, it's a long story. If you would like to indulge in the story, it can actually consume your whole interview. But I think, in a nutshell, my journey was something which I would say that I wanted to reach to a point where I'm satisfied. At least today, I can tell you that whatever I'm doing, especially in research and development, is something which I'm greatly satisfied with. And I think that's what I would call success, because whatever you produce as a result should not be the measure for your success to be elaborated.
It's very impressive, and I believe you had a lot of ups and downs in your entrepreneurial career.
Believe me, I love ups and downs.
So it's very impressive. My second question is to you: that as your childhood, did you ever thought that you will be very successful?
As I said, Shahzad, you see, success never meant the same as it did for others. In my case, to me, success was where I felt satisfied. And sometimes, believe you me, that I did some ventures, or there were some, let's say, tasks which I thought that I should be doing, and then I did them. And for everybody else, it was a great failure. To me, if I had gotten myself to a level of that satisfaction which I thought that I required, I called it success. And that's why, since my childhood, I believe that I happen to be very, very lucky person who, whatever I desired and whatever I wanted to do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me the courage, and He gave me all the tools to undertake that, which I did, no matter what kind of risks were involved, whatever costs I had to pay. And I think one thing is very important when it comes to taking risks, because business, or your entrepreneurial journey, as we call it nowadays, is all about your capacity to take risks, and your capacity to take risks, and then on top of that, there is another tier, your capacity to envision that how that risk is going to be interpreted for you. You understand? And that interpretation is your own interpretation. Probably it is not the similar interpretation which everybody else is doing. To me, because I never thought that if I would earn a lot of money from a business, that is success. So honestly, when I was a child, my demeanor or my disposition was exactly how it is today. It is just that I have matured a little bit. I have learned some lessons from life. I have somehow gathered the information probably which is required most of the time for you to undertake so-called big challenges. Otherwise, to me, success was not getting to the money. Success was getting to the satisfaction. And believe you me, this satisfaction was with me from day one. I cannot remember a single day, even business was failing or it entirely failed or business was successful and it was earning a lot of money. To me, success was, how do I feel here? And whenever I felt satisfied, no matter what was the situation, I declared myself successful in that particular task or in that particular business.
So it means you are a pessimistic person and you want to be more fulfilled, rather be empty in your heart.
Optimistic.
Is that what you mean?
Greatly optimistic. I mean, I still remember there was a friend of mine who once used this phrase, brutally optimistic. And I think I am brutally optimistic. And I think that is just one thing which kept me afloat wherever I was, whatever I did, or whatever I'm doing. And I believe that the people with optimism can never be drawn. They are born to stay afloat, and even when they are dead, I think because they leave this legacy of optimism behind. Thus, I believe that even after they depart, they stay afloat.
Okay, again, I have another question for you. What will you advise to, generation like us or a younger generation, if they hit the bottom in their life, how would they should turn around the situation?
I think this is lovely to answer because these type of questions would always ignite something inside me, and I feel energetic and pumped up when I hear such a situation happening with somebody or you see myself, because I believe that the people who are very, very lucky, or the ones I call them, or the ones you call them the chosen ones. How those people are chosen ones who would hit the bottom. This is analogy which I think once understood, it can change anybody's life and anybody's perception about things forever. Now, I would give you a certain, hypothetical situation I would create for you and the audience, and especially the youngsters listening to us. Just imagine that if a person who has lived a wonderful life, like Buddha, and whenever this comes to a situation where people, for their greater part of their life, up to their adulthood, they have lived a wonderful life. Buddha is the greatest example for that, because he, I think, was in his 20s when he was first taken out of his palace. And look at this person that he has never seen the outside world. He has lived in probably the most luxurious life one can imagine then, because that is what his father was trying to provide to him. And once he was able to witness, you see, certain people in certain situations and certain questions were raised in his mind, he wanted some answers, and he was ready to sacrifice that wonderful life for those answers which he wanted to have. Now, if a person who has lived a wonderful life, and if I would invite everybody to, if you have not, then do get into the details of Buddha's life, that how his life, the initial life was up to the adulthood, and then how the later life actually completely changed him, and of course he changed great part of you see the human beings lived around him, and still his impact continues. Now, if a person has lived a wonderful, luxurious life, and for the very first time in his 20s, he is faced with a situation, suppose there is a dog on the road, and the dog is actually running towards you, and you are feared that the dog is going to bite you. I mean, this is a kind of situation probably so many people, they would hear and they would laugh if they have lived a life under certain experiences. I mean, experiential life, I would call that. And then if a person who has never actually come out of this luxurious or wonderful life, for him, probably this is the most scariest moment of his life. He would run for his life, and probably he would fear this dog who's actually, you see, coming towards him, would bite him and then probably tear him apart, and that would be the end of his life. Now, this is his perception. His perception is because he has not experienced such events in his younghood. And just because of this lacking, he might, because you see, dogs, the people who know, dogs normally once, I mean, first of all, there are types of dogs, that which type of dog would actually run after you, and which dogs are going to bark only, and which dogs are going to bite you. But that is entirely, you see, up to your information and your experiential learning. If you have not experienced anything, and if you have not gone through such events, believe me, probably the most innocent dog can turn around and become a lion for you, and it can actually tear you apart. Now, this is exactly what life does with you. If you have experienced certain things in your life and you have never feared that whatever is happening, whether good or bad in the eyes of people or you take it as experience, and then you try to endure it, absorb it. This actually creates a capacity in you, and that capacity is something which you are going to utilize in your later experiences or such or similar experiences. But now, because you are carrying certain experiences about similar situations, hopefully you are going to act better and perform better and get the better results. Now, the people who have hit the rock bottom, I think if that is what they think, I would like to tell them that there is no bottom in life. Whenever you think that you have experienced enough, or you have experienced enough pain, or you have experienced enough problems, it is your perception. It is a matter of you digging a little deep, going into people's life and finding and comparing yourself to them, and then only you would realize that you actually have not even seen the shred of pain which people, they not only endured, but they continue to endure in different parts of our own society and rest of the world. And then through those experiences, they became better people. They learned their lessons, and you see, somehow those experiences made them tougher, made them more, you see, more absorbent, made them more gritty, made them more brave, made them resilient, made them, you see, inviting all those challenges which rest of the people would actually afraid to even confront. Now, I would ask you, if this is the situation and if this is true, and I think every human being with a little logic can understand that this is how we all evolve. If you look at a boxer's life, if you don't box enough, you can never become a boxer who's going to box somebody down. You are going to remain a boxer who thinks that I am a boxer. If you want to box somebody down, then you have to evolve to a level which is better than this person. And how would you do that? By boxing more, by getting beaten, by beating people. Of course, in the ring, not outside, but I would say that the people who have the experience of outside boxing or street boxing, I believe that they are better boxers than anybody else because those are real fights. So these are your fights, the tough times or your tests, and those tests are not there to take you down. Those tests are there to make you ready for the bigger challenges which you are going to confront in your life, in your later life. And because you previously had experienced those similar situations and you somehow came out of them, now this is probably the sign, or this is the herald for you that next time when you face something like that, you are going to perform better and hopefully you would succeed in whatever terms you would like to succeed. So there is no bottom in life. First of all, we need to understand that. And no matter what bad or worse situations you are, that situation can be compared with so many people who probably had 1,000 times worse situations than ours, and they survived those situations, they came out of them, and they did miraculous things in their lives.
So as I remember, you always used to say this: accept the challenge so you may feel the exhilaration of victory.
That's wonderful. I mean, it was General George S. Patton, and there's a history to General George S. Patton in American. He was an American general, and why I liked this quote so much was because this quote alone, this quote changed so much in me. The day I read this quote, I mean, I can recall that it was 1999 and I was in Workend, and that college I can still remember. It was called DataNet, and I went there to actually have certain courses. And in lab, there was this picture on which there was Discovery flying, and it was tearing the clouds apart. And down there, one could read this quote. And I looked at this picture and I felt myself, you see, at the helm of, you see, whatever happened when people, they were conceptualizing or envisioning the Discovery, you see, flying. And then I thought that probably that level of understanding is required for a human being to achieve miraculous things or impossible things. And probably that is what went through all those minds who were behind Discovery's mission. Life is just like that. All the impossibles which seem impossibles will not remain impossibles. Probably something which you or me would agree is impossible, somebody else probably who was born yesterday, after 10-15 years, would claim that this was not impossible. It was just that these people, they lacked the understanding, vision, grit and bravery to achieve such a milestone. And I am the one who's going to achieve that. And probably down the line, 10 years, he would actually turn around and he would tell you, probably we are in our graves by then, but he is there and he is showing the world that the people 15 years, 20 years back, thinking that this is something which is impossible, is now achieved by me. And that is what has been happening since time immemorial. When human being actually they set their foot on earth, that is the moment when it started and it continues till date. I mean, you go back 100 years, let's not go back 100 years, go back 30 years. And I can tell you that 30 years back, I used to talk with my friends And we used to talk that there would be times one day, because those days, even those landlines were very rare. Only rich people, they had those landlines in the area where I lived. And we would discuss, and we would say that there are people who say that one day people, they would communicate through these phones, and they would be able to see each other no matter where they are sitting. And then we would talk, and we would discuss that there is going to be a mobile phone, because by then we had not even seen mobile phone, which normally we use. But we would talk that, oh, one day these phones are going to be replaced by wireless phones through which people, they would communicate. And then one day, even through those phones, they'll be able to communicate visually. They would be able to see each other. And you see, I think it's
Which we are now.
15 years that we are doing that, and it is no more a surprise for us.
Yeah, as you know, as you're aware, there's a new innovation will be coming in, which is artificial intelligence. So I believe you have covered my next question, which was a challenge, and I've given you a quote as well. So do you feel, I mean, you have, as you have elaborated and described about yourself, that you had ups and downs. So do you believe that any time you are, I mean, you're ready, or you're always ready for challenges? So
I would die
think
if there are no challenges. I would die. I mean, I would die tomorrow. If my life actually offers me no challenge, I would not like to live anymore. Of course, it is haram. I'm a Muslim. I don't want to believe in, you see, suicide or suicidal even thoughts. In fact, I would say that it's only for those who somehow either don't understand life, or somehow they have not been raised to understand life and face those challenges, because that is the only reason why we were born on this planet. That our Creator wanted us to go through certain things and achieve certain things, recognize certain things. And I believe that your life should end, or would end, if your life gets emptied and there is no challenge whatsoever left for you to face. And if you are facing challenges on daily basis, and those challenges are escalating every day, they are being inflated every day, and you are thinking, oh my God, I am getting my challenges being inflated every day. And it's probably because that somebody wants me to go down. Then you're wrong. Somebody wants you to face bigger challenges, so that you can probably face the ultimate challenge of your unique life. Because every life is unique, and every unique life, to me, has been given an ultimate challenge, an ultimate task to achieve, you see, in our lives. And if your challenges are escalating, you're a lucky person. If you're facing problems, sadness, issues, depression, whatnot, you are a lucky person. Just understand that if you kept walking, and if you remained steadfast, and if you remained focused, and if you understand, or if you understood that life will never give you the light first. It will always give you the dark first, but there is always light by the end of the tunnel. I have walked this tunnel so many times in different scenarios, probably not the ultimate one. I'm preparing myself for that. But I always found light, always, not a single time I just found darkness and darkness and darkness. It never remains darkness. And if we want to understand that, I think the only thing we need to do is do a little bit of pondering over little things which happen in our life on daily basis. Suppose this interview is a new challenge.
Yes, sir.
And
of course it is.
And every day you will be faced with new challenges. I ask you, Shahzad, you are a brother to me. I asked you that, what do you feel by the end of this interview? Do you understand? Can you envision that what kind of feelings you are going to take away? And then you asked me, and I will tell you just now, I'm not a predictor, but I will tell you that when you would leave from this interview, this is the situation which you are going to be having as emotional, your emotional or logical understanding. I can tell you just now. And how one can do that? Because through your continuous experiences, you start to first of all understand that how people, they can actually control those things which probably they are entering for the very first time. Because this incident, in this incident, we can call that probably, this is, by the way, for me, this is not the first experience, but let's assume that it is the first experience for me also. And now, if it is the first experience for us, both of us, you tell me, how can we make sure that this experience ends on something positive? There is only one way. If we go back and relate from all those experiences, which for the very first time we entered, and probably we failed or we came out positively, but later on we learned certain things from them, and then we applied them on exercises or events which we were going to be conducting in our future. This event is one of them. Now, because we have matured, we have come to a level where we have gone through, you see, different life events in different scenarios. We can control. That control has been given to us. That, man, don't worry, just enter, just accept this challenge, and then you already have all the preparedness here and here. It's just that you believe in this darkness, that I would enter this darkness, and when I would leave this darkness, there would be just light for me. And you can make sure that. And I tell you, I predict that by the end of this interview, when you leave this interview, you would say, wow, man, I'm great. I did wonderful job. And you see, when I entered, I was a little confused. I was thinking about so many things. And I was thinking, I don't know how it is going to be turning up. And wonderful. I entered. I carried this confidence. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you see, took me to the light which I wanted to see towards the end. This is exactly how the life is.
Of course, there is a little saying which my brother always say, you will never win until you begin. So it is a new beginning. It is a new start. And as I want to be consistent and persistent to carry on this, as you know, I like networking with people. So I will carry it on. It's not the subject that I started to make money. It is like a kind of a passion for me.
Wow.
To network with the people.
Wow, that's great. That's
not about
great.
money. To just start something.
Things which you do for your passion or with your passion, those things, they can never leave you without this reward which you wanted to have, because your passion was behind whatever you did. And when people, they are after materialistic milestones, I think to some extent that is also fine. Materialistic milestones should also be there, but even when you are trying to achieve your materialistic milestones, put your great passion behind that and try to, let's say, drive yourself or probably try to sort yourself out towards something which you think is going to earn me material, but this is something where I am going to be passionate also, because this is in me. I want to do it. I want to explore it. And this is something which satisfied my inner self also. This is something which I would suggest to every human being on this planet, that if you would like to do something and you are passionate about it, you're not only going to win, you are not only going to become successful in that particular thing. If you earn money, that is bonus. That is good. And I think that
Yeah,
is
of course.
that's allowable, and that to me is very, very legitimate also.
Yes, so we don't have, okay, we will wrap up with this. That today, nowadays, is youth is completely, you see, they are more into, as you raise the subject, more into materials, more into technology, but to achieve the real success, I don't see in them. So how do you advise to the young youth to keep up with the good work?
I think nowadays I preach a lot about that. I talk a lot about that because probably because of my personal reference. I have believed throughout my life that the people who are gritty and the people who are braver than rest of the breed and the people who are great risk takers somehow in their childhood, uh, either the situation they were in, or their parents, or their elders, their mentors, their teachers, somehow they were preparing them to face the bigger realities of life. And they were raised with this understanding that life is going to be tougher and tougher and tougher for those people who would like to advance, advance, and advance. The people who would like to reach a certain place and then stay there forever, I guarantee you that life is not going to be tougher on them. And there are so many people which you can look around and you would find them very easily, that they reach to a certain place and they are satisfied with that. And life is okay. I mean, life has no more challenges left for them. Now, I think youngsters, they should try to indulge in sports, especially the sports which would provide them with certain endurance. I would say that, I mean, a person who runs uh, at least, you see, a mile or 2 mile a day is going to have the endurance to run another mile. But the people or the person who has never run a mile probably will not be able to run for 500 meters. And this is how you have to prepare yourself physically and mentally. Mental tortures you must go through. Some people, they go into social service, they buy people's pain. Why do they do that? I mean, are they crazy? Why would they like to have the pains of others given to them and they are suffering because of others? I believe that these people are great minds and great souls. Why? Because they understand that if I want to build something in my life, for my life, I have to have the extra pain. I have to have the extra struggle. And if I somehow borrow those pains from others, not only I am going to increase my endurance, my resilience, but I am going to become the beneficial human being to others also. And probably this is exactly what our Creator wants us to indulge in, that somehow we connect together, we feel it for each other, and because end of the day, whatever we do in this life or whatever we achieve in this life is meaningless. Probably 100 years down the line, 200, 300 years down the line, nobody would know you, nobody would know me. Probably if we become so famous, some people, they would still know our name. But whatever we did in our lives is going to be almost. I said almost because probably tomorrow you invent something which remains there for 1,000 years or 100,000 years. But for most of the people, taking as an example, this is what happens with most of the ordinary people. Now, what is important is that whatever we leave as a legacy is something which people follow, or if they don't follow, but it is positive, number one, because the impact is going to be going down, or one day it gets to uh, a level of almost non-existence. Now, what is it which we do today, which is meaningful for us? Everything through which we become more resilient. Number one, the people who hear people, like you are talking to me, you are trying to understand from my experiences, and you want other people also to listen to what I have to say and probably learn something from my experiences. There are very few people who would be able to learn from others' experiences. Or probably there comes a time in your life when you have become wise enough to take examples from others and then learn from them. Most of the time we would learn from our own experiences. Now, you see, some safe experiences can be done. Like, I believe that all the human beings must exercise. They must do some physical activity all the time because this increases your physical endurance. You must try to outrun your own expectations all the time, physically and then mentally also. How do you do that mentally? I mean, you put up challenges. Suppose you think that you cannot remember 5 names. If 5 people, they come to you and they meet you and you cannot remember them, you put up a challenge to you or to your brain that now I'm going to be trying to remember 50. So hopefully you would remember more than 5. So this is how we can train ourselves, that we provide smart and safe challenges to our physical being and our mental being. And then probably our spiritual being also. How do we actually provide spiritual beings with certain challenges? You ask yourself how good a person I am, and then try to scrutinize that. Most of the time we scrutinize others and we want people to be accountable in front of us, but we never wanted ourselves to be accountable in front of anybody, not even in front of our own selves. Now, if you try to make yourself accountable, this is probably a kind of, I'm not a spiritual leader, but a little understanding which I carry about spirituality is that looking inwards is spirituality. And looking inwards is interpreted by me as that I ask questions and I raise questions against my own bad self. And then not only I raise those questions, but I punish myself for that. How do I punish positively? I mean, I ask myself that if you are carrying a bad deed or you are doing something which is bad for others, not only you are going to stop that, but you are going to somehow pay for that. This compensation is something which you provide as a punishment. Like you would say, I would help 2 people as a punishment to me that I had been doing certain negative things in my life. And today I not only realized, I made myself accountable. I have told myself that you are not allowed to commit this again. And whenever you do that, you are going to pay, suppose, 50 rupees or 50 euros or $50 or whatever your currency is to 2 people. Now, if you are a person of certain morality, I will ask you after 1 year that how much money you are able to pay. Believe you me, you would stop. But because we are not very sincere to our own selves, we do not want ourselves to be righteous. This is why we don't punish us. We always provide ourselves those alleys and valleys to slip away from. And this is where the problem is, that you have to punish yourself. You want everybody to be punished, but you don't punish yourself. If you don't even accuse yourself, how you are going to punish? Punishment is the second level. First, at least start accusing yourself. And once you accuse yourself and then you realize that you are wrong on something, please accept that. Not only accept that to yourself, but accept that in front of others also, probably who you have harmed or you have inflicted some sadness or some pain through, you see, whatever that deed was. And I believe that these small things, because the people who are very young, like in their teens, they can, and I always ask, even I ask my children, that the more you read and the more you listen, especially those people, the people who carry experiences, because the people who have not experienced life to its fullest, or they feared something, I don't know what something that actually is, because some people, they think that it was a fear of death. Some people, they would call it fear of getting lost, or so many types of fears. I would always say that those fears were wonderful to embrace and to overcome. You have to run them over, and you have to go beyond them to see what fantasies are there waiting for you to be discovered. And if you never actually overcome those fears, and if you never even try to overcome them, believe you me, whatever a human being would seek is something which he or she is going to get. That is the promise of life, as far as I have understood life. So, kids, please read books. Please sit with the eldest people, not elder, eldest. The more elder, the better. The more experienced, better. Especially those retired people who are done with their lives, and they are waiting for their children and those young men to sit with them. If you think that you are going to waste your time, I would say that you are wrong, and you are wasting your time without them. You need to spend your time. That is what I did since my childhood. I never sat with, you see, my age fellows. I always wanted to sit with elder people, and not simple elder people. I wanted to sit with people who had done something in their life, who I felt, maybe most of the people, they rejected them as useless people. Because I refer one great man in our neighborhood when I was in Sangar. I would not name this person, probably this would hurt so many people, but I loved this person. He was a great failure. He was a great failure for the whole town. Why? Because he was the most sincere person. He was the most indulging person in whatever was happening in our society. He wanted my problem to be solved. He wanted your problem to be solved. And he was almost running all day, solving others' problems. And most of the people, they called him, you see, useless person, or as we call, an idiot. This man, he does not know what to do with life. He is running for others, and his own children probably are waiting for him. I don't know how good he was with his own children, but I believe that the person who was so good to me, being not his child, must be very good to his own children. So I told you, success is not something which we generally describe. How many billions or millions you have amassed, how many big companies you have set up, how many wonderful projects you have undertaken. Yes, one must try to do big things, wonderful things, but most of the times those wonderful things mean nothing for others, but those things are wonderful for you, and those things are not only fulfilling to you, but they are going to get you the reward here and in the hereafter also. Now, the children in their teens, if they start to understand the realities of life, and rather than indulging in all the materialistic achievements in life, they not only, they should follow, I mean, if whatever they can lay their wonderful positive hands on, they must do that. But one should always look inwards first. Am I satisfied here, whatever I'm doing? Am I lying? Am I deceiving people? Am I, whatever I am doing, or whatever projects I'm involved in, you see, what kind of sincere working I have brought in, what type of sincere leadership, you see, I have given to my people, or whatever, or what kind of wonderful fellowship I have brought into the team. You see, all those ingredients are wonderful as long as they are understood with sincerity, and I think with great morality, because human beings, I believe that human beings or not the species who should carry a lower level of morality, any lower level. It should always be the highest. And you should always, wherever you are, you should set yourself another higher milestone of morality to achieve. I believe your moralities are correct. Your vision is correct. You are not deceiving person. You are not a liar. You are a hardworking person. And you embrace all the life challenges positively, and you laugh and you love them. I tell you that you die, wherever you die, in whatever situation you die, there would be wise people, and there would be wise people here, and there would be wise people there who would tell you that Mr. Shahzad, you are a successful person. Mr. Tahir, oh, you are a successful person. You understood the actual requirement of your being here in this world. And probably you did not leave no material. Allama Iqbal left no material. Qaid Azam left no material. They are my ideals. They are my heroes. My Prophet, peace be upon him, left no material whatsoever. I believe that, you see, when we talk about him, he is the acme of whatever human being can be. If that was what a human being was supposed to be achieving, then he must have left great, you see, estate and a lot of assets for his children and his family, which he did not. He did not even bother to think about them. But what he left was his morality, his character, and his legacy. And that through this legacy, Mr. Shahzad, me and you, brothers, we are brothers. And because of this legacy, we believe that every human being on this earth should be treated justly, and they are all human beings, and somehow we need to embrace each and every human being on this planet and treat them with positivity, treat them with love, treat them with respect, and somehow make them ascend from this level wherever they are and reach to a level of morality first, which at least we or people surrounding us are satisfied. Oh yes, this man who happens to be our brother, husband, son, or daughter, or wife, or mother, sister, whatever. Oh, this person has achieved a certain level, which in our eyes is a big success. That is a success.
Thank you very much for the wise words, and your vision is, I respect that. And hopefully there's only less time, and because of the time. So hopefully we will continue this. And I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed the knowledge which you have shared with me, and hopefully I hope it will be envisioned for other people as well. Whatever the best they can take from it and learn from it, because I always learn. Every day is a learning. And you said that especially books always help. You know, I didn't used to read books, but for last 4 years before this pandemic started, so I started reading books. So I have finished few books. I started with Think and Grow Rich, how to win friends and people. This is another great book, and few other books. So wow, I recommend everybody they should read books. They should read and they should listen, because knowledge is not only a power. Knowledge is a potential power. While we have a time, we should. I recommend everybody, even though in my family I recommend people to read books, increase your knowledge.
That's good. Yeah.
So that is my message, and you have given a great message for everybody.
Thank you.
So they can take a message from here, and in the end of the day, it's up to them where they want to take their life. There is one thing which I want to say to you, because the new generation, what it is with them, they're ambitious. They're ambitious, lazy. They have big ambition. I mean, obviously you know, because we live in a world, a lot of us indulge in materialism. So that is not, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but they should always see out of the box and envision bigger things, bigger picture, and always help to others. So, Mr. Tahir Nihad, it's been a great pleasure to speak with you. And hopefully, we're going to continue this podcast. And I'm very honored once again that it started with you, and you have enlightened enlightened my soul, and I was completely in a different level with you while you were talking, while you're speaking. You like, I can say your knowledge is like a diamond. You really shine today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shahzad, for having me. It was wonderful talking to you. And I think this experience is something which I equally share with you. I am taking away a lot of learning from this discussion. And I wish you best of luck with your life journey and whatever your passions are, and especially the series of programs which you are starting. And I tell you, it is guaranteed for all those people who have heart, who dare to indulge. You have accepted the challenge. Now you will feel the exhilaration. Thank you very much.
No problem. Goodbye, and see you soon.